On this Sunday Shockwave, we're going to be talking about a figure that I think is incredibly important, or at least the smaller part of that figure. However, I will also say right now, this is not a proper review. I will not be transforming this figure, and I will be doing my best to limit posability due to the fragility of his joints. Just be aware of that now. This is not a proper review, more a celebration of a very important figure. This is the Mastermind Creations Night Morpher, Micro Morpher Cyclops. Cyclops is a Shockwave based on the Heart of Steel design of him, which is to say, he turns into an armored up riverboat. This is a character made entirely by Mastermind Creations. In their fiction, their idea, this Shockwave is the true Shockwave, or rather, this Cyclops is the true Cyclops, a human-sized submarine that takes control of an absolutely titanic Shockwave. He's similar to a headmaster or a transtector in that way. It's the type of toy that I could honestly say is worthy of being treasured and studied in the same way we do G1 figures. Because without Mastermind Creations, without their Hearts of Steel line, I'm not entirely sure what the third-party Transformers scene today is. Just speaking in generalities, allow me to make this point clear. Even though this is based off Shockwave, this is an original character made by a third-party company. Basically, the man behind the curtain, the tiny robot that controls the massive Cyclops. This is design that did not come from Guido Guidi the way that the other Night Morpher designs did. This is not an official design. This is a unique character and a design made entirely by third party. In terms of the design, it is very similar to the proper Cyclops. His proportions are almost identical. However, his transformation is entirely his own. His transformation to a submarine, entirely his own. His articulation scheme, his paint, everything, entirely his own. He also has a unique head sculpt. Whereas the proper Cyclops looks like Shockwave, this Shockwave is meant to look more like an old-timey diving helmet, right down to a very big pupil that's always staring you down, in order to signify that this is the true bot. In terms of articulation, you have a swivel at the head, you have a universal here at the shoulder, you have a hinge down here at the elbow, and you can go up and down. You also have a waist swivel, ball joints at the hip, an upper leg cut, a knee hinge, and very big feet, along with a ball jointed toe down here. These are some very, very tiny joints. This is a very small figure, by the way. And if you're not able to understand how small he is, here is my core class Bumblebee movie Shockwave. And now you're starting to see this is an incredibly intricate, well-articulated figure with tiny, tiny pieces that stands about the height of the classic Legends scale, which is to say, just a few inches taller than a Micromaster. Speaking of a Micromaster, I think this really helps show you just how small he is, and how intricate he is in spite of that small size. But we have to be careful with him. You see, I don't know if you guys know this, Micromasters, you really shouldn't transform these guys as often as you might want. These arms snap, as do the hinges here in the legs. Now those are pretty big pieces, aren't they? Those are some very tiny pieces. I know I just knocked my guy down, but I hope I'm explaining to you guys why I'm never going to transform this guy and why I'm being so careful with him. Here's a reality, right? G1 figures, there's a demand for them. There's a chance that these molds could be recreated, even the ones that were lost, or they could be remade. Look at G1 Sunstreaker. He's getting an entirely new toy in Missing Link. But this, a third-party design? One that was never endorsed or acknowledged by Hasbro in any way, shape, or form? We have the original run, and that's it. There is no recreating this. In this world in which lost media is becoming something more and more people come to understand, and we can understand the importance of preserving every form of art we can, these little third-party guys suddenly become very, very important to understanding the development of our fandom, the development of the third-party scene, even. We have photos and videos, but in terms of the actual physical toys themselves, the lasting plastic, the tension when you have them in your hands, the tactile response, that is all in a very brief time window. There's only so many of these guys left, and when they're gone, they're gone. I've been looking for this guy and his big brother for many, many years, and I only now just found them. That is why we're being careful. My ownership of them is less me trying to enjoy a toy now, and me understanding instead that I kind of have a responsibility to try to keep these guys in as good a condition as I can, because who knows? It might be that one day I have the last two still standing. The mini Cyclops has more than earned his spot in the Council of Shockwave. However, I think that his space in the Parliament will need to have a surrogate. I think he's just going to observe as old Bumblebee movie Shockwave gets ready to do a super kick. There we go. Put the boots to him! Shock Blart understands that he just suffered for art. I hope you guys understand that. He suffered for this guy, and that's noble. The Parliament of Shockwave has many figures I love, many toys that I'm honored to own and have. However, as much as I love the proper council, those are all mass-produced. I could get any one of them again pretty readily. But then I look at some of the special ones. My custom Cheesimus Shockwave, my G.I. Joe Bat, even this little guy here. And I understand that preserving them, keeping those figures intact, is now important to maintain the history of our scene. As soon as we lose these figures, we lose the ideas and the identity of those individuals who worked to make this toy a reality. And next week, we're going to be talking about the guy he was an accessory to.